Who would be better to tell us more about this great achievement other than Dr. Mohanad AlShaikh, Chief Executive Officer of Johnson Controls Arabia? Please help me welcome him on stage. Dr. Mohanad.
Thank you, brother فيصل. أولاً الله يحفظكم، شرفتونا وكرمتونا بوجودكم معنا اليوم، وأشكر كل من حضر معنا اليوم. واسمحوا لي يعني to switch من العربي للإنجليزي لأنه we have guests and we don't have translators, so we'll accommodate for our customer, I would say, from the US, who is the main reason why we are here today. Before we get into the details, allow me to give you an overview about the journey that we've had in the past 30 plus years as Johnson Controls Arabia. And it's been an interesting, challenging journey. And every day, every year, we're seeing the fruitions of the investments we made in the kingdom. And also, we're seeing it through our expansions, as Faisal said, from Saudi to the world. So before I get to that, when it comes to manufacturing, we are quite blessed that the Saudi leadership Vision 2030 pillar talks about industrializations, talks about manufacturing, and it gives great level of details about where the kingdom wants to get when it comes to manufacturing. The Saudi National Industrialization Strategy that was launched about 2 years ago talks about 3 main pillars. One, to increase the Saudi exports from 150 billion Saudi riyals a year to about 550 billion Saudi riyals by the year of 2030. It also talks about the contributions to the GDP from 330 billion Saudi riyals a year to 900 billion Saudi riyals a year by the year of 2030. Also talks about job creations from 900,000 jobs that exist today to about 2 million jobs by 2030. We are quite proud to be today the largest employer in King Abdullah Economic City through the products that we are manufacturing and through the plan of expansions that we'll be talking about in a little bit more. So I would like to thank all the governments and non-government departments that are supporting us to truly achieve our mission and vision for the company. Today, we have representatives from the Ministry of Industrial Affairs, we have the Local Content Authority, we have the Authority of Export Development, the Exim Bank, and our colleagues also from the NGO, the Extinguished Saudi Initiatives, that also is part of the success we have. Let me take you through the history of the company. Johnson Controls, or in particular York products, came to the kingdom about 75 years ago. And I was reminded that Al-Kandra Palace was one of the first projects here in the city of Jeddah, 75 years ago. As a joint venture, we started about 30 plus years ago, and I'm quite blessed that we have Mr. Saleh bin Laden here, was one of the founders of the company, and I have our board, the chairman and the CEO of Saudi bin Laden Group, Engineer Samer Khawashki, and I have our executive board member who wears many hats, Claude Aline, also here with us. But it's been quite a journey. We started as a company, as a distributor. It was a pure distribution chip. It worked quite well, and then it moved from distribution to aftermarket services. And then we started our first manufacturing plant about 24 years ago. And that was our first factory in the kingdom, to the east of the King Abdulaziz Airport. We moved throughout the years from only being focused in Saudi and from being only focused on York products to having the entire umbrella of Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls acquired York International back in 2005, and also Johnson Controls acquired Hitachi in 2015, and there have been also a merger between Johnson Controls and Tyco products. All of that now is under the umbrella of Johnson Controls Arabia. We also had a great milestones about 2 years ago where we established ourselves as an RHQ company. So we cover the Middle East out of Saudi operations. And when it comes to the Middle East, we export to the entire Middle East and Africa regions, and we are the regional hub for Johnson Controls in the Middle East and Africa region. We also expanded our operations, so we do have now offices that report directly to the Saudi operations in India and Lebanon and Egypt and other places within the Middle East. So that's in brief history about where we started and where we are today. And my colleague here was joking today. He said, from Saudi to the US, you forgot Latin America. So I said, sure, we'll take it. So when it comes to our presence here in Saudi, we have, luckily, before I even talk about our own operation, Johnson Controls Arabia, between the two partners, we have Johnson Controls and the Saudi Bin Laden groups, we're talking about 250,000 employees. Some of them are in Saudi, some of them are there, but that gives us great access to a know-how that creates positive synergy that only few companies got that leverage. And truly, that over the years turned to be one of the main pillars of how we were able to achieve what we achieved. I mean, today, we are the second or largest aftermarket operations for Johnson Controls globally. Today, when it comes to installed base, we talk about 2 million tons of coolings that got installed by the company. This makes us the largest by far in the entire Middle East and Africa region, if not one of the top players in the world to have that concentrations in one geography. When it comes also to our services, we are certified as an ESCO company. And we work directly with a company called Tershid. It's a company owned by the PIF, where we provide energy auditing services. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, when we try to approach the markets, it's not only the products that we're trying to sell. We come to the market and offer solutions. So anything to do with buildings and buildings technologies, we are there to serve it. So when it comes to energy auditing, usually it's not about only the products that affects the total efficiency of the building. It's the products, it's the controls systems, the building management systems, it's the water control system, the entire ecosystem that affects the efficiencies of building. And we're a market leader when it comes to that. Also, when it comes to services, Johnson Controls globally has one of the highest market share for the Marine and Navy business. I know Jay is here and Cyril, we talked about that many times before. We know how much traffic in terms of shipping goes by the Red Sea and by the Gulf. And part of the Saudi the industrial strategy, the national industrialization strategy, it talks specifically about the Marine and Navy business. We have almost 25% market share in the ships that go by the Red Sea. And this comes from the HVAC equipments installed, the industrial refrigeration systems installed, the fire security, fire suppression, fire detections that are usually installed on those ships. So for us, It comes in alignment with the national industrialization strategy. It's a line of business that we started that's picking up, and we're quite proud to be market leader globally, but also in Saudi. So now Johnson Controls globally, I mean, the total turnover, we're talking about $30 billion company with market capitalization of about $45 billion. So comes to geographical expansions, global presence, we have it, and we are quite lucky that we're able to tap into such know-how and bring it to Saudi, and if it exists already, we are able to unleash it to produce it to our customers. We talk about 4,000 visitors. We're quite proud of this. Last year, we got almost 2,500 students to visit this factory. The plan today is to reach at least 4,000 visitors. I mean, this is part of our CSR here in alignment with the National Industrialization Strategy, is to ensure the ecosystem for industrialization is there. And we figured it starts with school, it starts with engineering students in universities. So we have been investing quite heavily when it comes to that. Also, we're going to be taking you on a tour of the 11 production lines that we have in the factory, but also going to take you to the R&D facilities that we have. We have one of the largest R&D in our field in this factory. It's in a building adjacent to this, where we are today, along with testing facility. And you will hear from my colleagues more about the capabilities that we have in those two facilities. When it comes to brands, we have about 15 different brands under the umbrella of this company. This manufacturing facility, where we are today, is about 200,000 square meters. Out of this facility, we are dealing with almost 400 different suppliers. We have about 4,000 parts that are used to manufacture the products that we have. So comes to the supply chain resilience and the engineerings and the applications and selections, and it requires lots of, I call it complex adaptive system. I mean, there are lots of components that have to work together for us to deliver the products and the services we try to deliver in the market. When it comes to products offerings, I forgot to mention one important thing here, and it's the most important, I would say. About a year ago, we used to import almost 70% of what we sell in Saudi. About a year ago. Today, we are manufacturing 80% of what we sell in Saudi. And if you account for the export, proudly, we are a net. When it comes to trade, the balance of trade, we are a net exporter. Because about 30% today of our productions is for the export market. And again, we are, in about a year from now, we will almost reach 100% local production. So the final 20% is for the products we'll be launching today, and that is the water-cooled technology. There are only 2 places in the world that manufacture this technology, one in the US and another one in China. And inshallah, by the end of this year, we'll have our first prototype built in this factory. I don't know how I missed that. These are the range of products that we are manufacturing in this facility. And people always ask me this question: do you manufacture or do you assemble? It's like kind of a universal question that comes to mind. And the short answer to that, it depends on the type of products. We have some products where we do almost 80% local manufacturing. So local content on these products are 80%. And in other products, it's 40%, depending on the complexity of these products. This factory, traditionally, been always geared toward high level of customizations. We're number one in the region, if not top 5 in the world when it comes to customizations. And that's really what allowed us to cater for all the mega and giga projects in the region. And this is what also is allowing us today to have our products shipped to the US market because of that level of customization. We actually, speaking of local content, we get sometimes blamed by our colleagues at the global level that we are manufacturing too much under one roof. Because usually factories, they have an integrated supply chain around them where you don't have to manufacture everything yourself. And this is really, I mean, an opportunity for potential investors. I mean, if I talked about 4,000 parts that we use, be very frank with you, it's not a panacea, it's not a perfect situation because 70-80% of the parts that we use come from outside the kingdom. So it's an opportunity for potential investors to set up manufacturing facility here in King Abdullah Economic City or in other places in the kingdom. There are enough demand around this. So as I said, when it comes to the varieties of products, we are manufacturing from residential applications to medium, light commercial applications, all the way to giga and mega type applications. And we do have a line of business that focuses on the fire suppressions, fire detections system under the Tyco brand name. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Simplex. You see it around. It's all under the umbrella. We also have a line of business that focuses on industrial refrigerations. Sub-zero goes to minus 50 degrees, and this is for petrochemicals, for food and beverages business, and we have actually quite high market share. Just give an example, our market share in Egypt last year for an industrial refrigeration line of business reached almost 50%. So it's a big line of business for us. Comes to controls, Johnson Controls, the original founder was a university professor. He was the one that created the room thermostats. So when it comes to control system, building management systems, we have a platform, an architect that deals with operational technology and information technology, what we call the Open Blue system, and that all is built on artificial intelligence, built on machine learnings, and how you manage buildings for the best efficiency, comfort, and also indoor air quality. So it's all under the umbrella of what we manufacture. These are just sample of projects that were supplied by this factory. I always like to pick on Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi, where we manufacture air handling units. Out of this factory, this happened about 13, 14 years ago. And I'm talking about air handling units. Each air handling unit is about 50% as big as this room. And we supplied almost 100 plus of them. They exist in Cleveland Clinic. So you see us, I mean, we supplied to India, to South Africa, and in other places in the region. But this is going to be our first time supplying to the US. And we're actually creating a whole production line for the products that are going to the US market. Comes to local content, we are quite proud that when it comes to our local content, our score is quite high for our industry. And it's growing year over year. And when we talk about local content, we're not only talking, I mean, I know the team exists from the Local Content Authority. we're not only talking about manufacturing. We're talking about manufacturing, the assets that we have in the company and Saudi. We talk about the training, development, Saudizations, the local purchasing we have. So the more that we can do locally, the better score we have, the more competitive we will become. So for us, it's a success pillar for the Saudi market, and we're quite proud that it's been a journey, a successful journey for us thus far. So why are we here today? As I said, we're here to celebrate two things. One is the export of what we call the scroll chiller technology to the US market. And when I talk about this particular product, we're talking about high efficient product that is HRI certified using refrigerants R454B, which is environmentally friendly, approved by the environmental protection agencies in the US, and also complies with the US requirements. And truly, this has been a great, we started producing that product for the Saudi market about 6-7 years ago. And for us, it's quite a journey, because that particular product led us to produce other type of chillers, not only for Saudi, but for the region. So today we are manufacturing this scroll type of technology, but we're also manufacturing screw type of technology, and you will see it on the shop floor. But today we'll be unveiling the scroll type of technology. Again, number of parts used 700. The majority of the parts are from outside the kingdom. So I'm highlighting this because it does create opportunities for local investors. And I heard that from Claude yesterday. He said, you need to localize more. That's the message coming from our customer, our president, our executive board member. The second reason why we're here today, we're going to be doing the groundbreaking for the water-cooled technology. Water-cooled technology is what is used in the Holy Mosque city in Mecca. We have almost 150,000 tons of cooling there. The city of Medina, cows, same thing. No one today in the region is manufacturing the water-cooled technology. I call it the Boeing of air conditioning. So inshallah, Boeing is not doing that. But it is, I mean, complex, big elephants type of machines. And we're quite proud that we will be able to build it in this factory and introduce it to our customers in about a year, less than a year time.